Okay, it's white box number 2. What could we possibly have in here? Well, it's another Spanish Civil War tank from Resin Lab Models. Great packaging, as you can see. Sent direct from Spain. Not sent to the channel, paid for by me. So these are all my own opinions. And what do we have in here? Well, good question. We got a lot more. It's a lot more comprehensive than the Naval, and that's based on the actual tank itself. So that being the Trubia A4, which is a mad looking thing. Now this is where you can start to see some of the FT17 kind of creeping in. A little bit more complex build, so we've got a bit of an expanded diagram just showing you how it's going to go together. So what we've got here is a very, very large chunk of resin here. So we've got again the main hull. It's a great big thing. Very nice. And now these actually I can show you how they just slot on. So we've got the same thing with the the sides, all moulded in one like that. And then it's got a kind of chamfered edge at the top there. And it does just slot on quite nicely like that. Again, very, very low riding. As we can see there's not a lot of clearance, and there they go. Hull and tracks are done. Look at that. It's a bit different, isn't it? What are we going to do for size comparison? What have I got? I've got a 38T. Here we go. Pretty much same size as the old German 38T. So it's a little bit bigger, this thing, whereas the Naval, oh, I've put it away now, I'm not getting that back out. The Naval is a little bit, probably more like that. So it's quite a lot smaller again. But they were small tanks. That was kind of the nature of things. 36, 39, pretty much everyone had small tanks. I mean, the 38T is a small tank, to be honest, isn't it? So yeah, where are we? Let's get it from the back. So just a little bit shy. It is pretty much the size of an FT17, I would say, this thing. If I was more prepared, I got one of those as well. We could have checked that out. But again, there'll be one of those coming to the channel in this this little series, because they had them as well. But more on that later. So we've got the same level of detail. Let's have a look. Actually, it's a little bit crisper on this. In places, but as you can see there, so I'm not sure this is by design. So you've got nice crisp panel line there with the raised rivets, and then it's a little bit kind of blurry there, if that makes sense. It's just not quite as defined, and all it needs is a bit of a rescribe. Same around there, just sharpening it up. It's really no problem at all. It's not a complaint, I'm just pointing it out. You know what? You couldn't do a lot more, could you? It's absolutely brilliant. You know, when you think of what resin could be, goodness me, we landed on our feet here a little bit. We've got a few small little bits to knock out on the levers here, which I'm sure. Let's try it. I was thinking about this again earlier. I think they will just pop off. Oh no! So they're in there. I was thinking they might just pop off, but there we go. So that is the level of work you need to do. So I'm sure we can all manage that. This is probably the softest bit there. Which again, when you're trying to pull that with all that raised detail, you know, you're going to struggle to get something really, really sharp there. So again, that's easily sorted by sharpening up there. I mean, you can actually just kind of cut into it a little bit, because what you're getting, instead of it being like that, very, very sharp, it's more like sort of that. It's more sort of beveled edge, more smooth like that, instead of straight 90-degree angles, and that's what gives that soft look. So two ways around that would be or I suppose 3 ways. You could actually cut them off and just put some plasticard discs on there and then 4 bolts on each. You could try and sharpen them up by cutting into them, like almost rescribing them slightly, and then actually make the circle, what were they called? Plates, caps. They're not doors. There's something like that, and then put the bolts on as well, or just tidy it all up, or not worry about it and spray over it, and it will look absolutely fine anyway. So very, very nice there. Now looking at one of the sidewalls, again, no problem. You'll notice that, I mean, this looks to me like 3D rendering, I would think. It's been designed as a 3D template, and then the mould's been taken from that, because it's very well done. Very well done. We've got quite a sort of large joining block there as well that you get with most resin kits, so you have to sort of bring that detail back in, although that is on the lower edge, so you know, you can take that with a pinch of salt. But yeah, all very good. There's no problems around there. I suppose here you can see what the point I was making. So you got these two that I would say are a little bit softer, and then these two, or this, hang on, this one here is quite a lot sharper. So that's the difference we're talking about there, between that and that. So it's really not a lot in it. Then we've got the other bag. So this makes up the couple of things. So we've got the three-tiered turret. God, that's not easy to say. Which goes pretty much like that. Obviously we've got all these blooming we've got these blocks to cut off, but it pretty much goes like that, like a tiered cake. These bottom two being central, and then the top one is off to a side. It's like the sort of cupola. And then we've got this large, is it the trenching? I apologise, I'm a little bit too tired to be doing this, but I've cracked it open. It's for the clearing trenches, isn't it? The FT17's got it. It goes at the back, and then gives you that, as the tank goes down, it gives you that spade clearance to push you out the other side. There's the exhaust, which is quite a chunky bit. Goes right on the side. We've got a slot there, and it goes in there like that. Again, needs a tiny bit of clean up, but you see how it goes. And that shoots out the back, and that's it. We've got, what's that bit there? Is that a door? Or hatch? No, that goes at the front. That's this bit, whatever that's for. Clearance of some sort, I imagine. Cutting, something like that. Barbed wire cutting, that sort of thing. Something like that. And that goes in there as well. You've got a flattened off edge, which just slots in. And there we go. And then we make up the finer details. Again, we've got 3 machine guns. That's what this is. No cannons on this. A couple of headlights and some clear resin as well for the actual bulbs. All very good. So there you go, something quite different but very topical for the channel. That is the Resin Lab Models Trubia A4 from 1926, used in the Spanish Civil War, right at the start. Not used extensively, but it certainly was there. There we go. So again, coming to a build near you on this channel very soon. Stay tuned. Again, if you're interested, check out resinlabmodels.com. That's the address there. And thanks for tuning in, and until next time, stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video.